About the doodle breed, we're going to cover a few basic things here just to give you an idea of what we need to keep in the back of our minds to be able to deal with the magnificent doodle coat and the mesmerizing energy level what they have. First, let's deal with the energy level part. It's very basic, so you do not want to get lost in that. Why is it so basic? It is. We just need to keep that in mind. And we're going to talk about the details and how to deal with the calmer and more energetic and super energetic ones with real doggy samples on videos. So first, let's talk about the calm one. A calm doodle in general is pretty chill, not comparing to an average doggy, but comparing to other doodles. So they can get excited, but they calm down fairly fast. Sort of they have an easily visible off button. The energetic ones, on the other hand, get energetic and very excited super fast, and it takes a while for them to get calmer again. So they have an off button, but it's a little bit harder to find it. The super energetic ones, they are the trickiest ever. They have super fluffy coat, crazy amount of energy, and they don't have an off button, really. They get more and more excited the more new things they get to exposed, new environment, new people, new doggies. They get super, super wiggly and they are running around like crazy, and it's very, very tricky, not impossible though, to work on them. Doodle hair type generator. I adapted this from Safari Doodle, and you can find a link to their post here. And I wanted you to take a look at this and get a better understanding of what if you cross an F1 doodle with a poodle. You're going to get F1B doodles. You need to keep this in mind, but we're going to approach the doodle coat from comfort perspective. So it's good to know about this, but we're going to get a handle of the situation from a little bit different perspective. I wanted you to take a look at this hair type generator I created so you can better understanding of what kind of coats we are mixing with what whenever we are making a golden doodle, labradoodle, sheepadoodle, bennydoodle, peterdoodle, etc. So for example, the poodle has curly wavy coat and they are non-shedding, but their coat is growing constantly. On the other hand, let's take golden retrievers. They have a combination coat. So whenever we are mixing up a golden doodle, we're gonna mix curly and wavy coat, constantly growing, with combination coated. So it's gonna be the trickiest ever coat on earth. It's gonna be beautiful and heart-melting though, but it's a real job to work on these hair types, what we create for doodles. So from grooming and gentle grooming perspective, or general grooming and gentle grooming perspective, you don't need to learn and know much more about this. We're going to take a look all the details on the other slides. One more quick thing before we would dive a little bit deeper in there. For smaller doodles, we're going to mix poodle coat, of course curly wavy coated, what we were talking about, constantly growing, with, in case of a schnauzer, wire coated. Then in case of Maltese, we're gonna mix natural long hair doggy, constantly growing hair together. So we're gonna end up with the trickiest coat ever on earth, regardless pretty much what kind of breeds we are mixing together. The main characteristic of the coat which we need to keep in mind is hair type. We need to know whether our doodle has straight, wavy, curly, or crinkled coat. If you take a look at this image, you see a pink line, which represents the skin. And the coat is fairly straight on the first drawing on the left. And on the second one, it's getting a little bit wavier. And we are seeing exactly the same hair amount on each image, just so you can keep in mind. On the third one, on the curly one, it's getting a little bit trickier, and the length of the coat is a little bit trickier as well, because the coat shrinks a little bit with the curls. So after blow drying your doggy, in case your doggy has curly coat, they're gonna look different and their coat will look a lot longer than when it was a little bit curly. And the crinkled one, which is the trickiest ever. Now, in real life, this is how they look. On the left, you see a doodle with straight hair. On the second one, it's a wavy one. You see the difference. It's a little bit more wavy on the second one. Still very easy to, not very easy, but still easier to maintain. And the curly one on the third one, it's kind of level 9, 10 hair quality, hair type, because it's very, very curly. And obviously the doggy has a lot of hair. But we're going to talk about what happens when we have a doodle with curly hair and a really thick coat later on. So the fourth one is the crinkled coat here. And on Duncan, he's one of my clients. And this is the trickiest ever hair type out there. And you really need to be and stay on the top of the hair type of the crinkles, because in case the doggy gets exposed to mud like he did, or frequent swimming, or a lot of rubs or playtime, this coat will be super matted in no time, and we really need to make sure that we are taking good care of it so the doggy will be comfortable and we can avoid a short shave. Hair thickness. Another extremely important part of the doodle coat is the hair thickness. So on the left side, you see the thin coat. Whenever the hair is kind of loose on the skin, again, the pink line represents the skin. The coat is not too thick. The hair is just there. You can easily see the skin if you just rub your fingers or slide your fingers through the coat. On the medium coat, it's going to be a little bit trickier to see the skin. You need to dig a little bit deeper to reach that depth, but it's still possible. On the heavy coat, you're going to see that there is much more hair on a given surface. Actually, all of these hair amounts are the same on each for drawing. So on a given surface, the doggy has a lot more hair on the heavy coat. On the extremely heavy coat, you're going to have a very hard time to see the skin. And usually for the heavy coat and the extremely heavy coat, you're not going to be able to brush out the coat perfectly in case the doggy has a certain length, like over 2-3 inches. And you're going to need a high velocity blow dryer to reach the skin area and remove all tangles and mess from the coat. So if you take a look at the green lines, you're going to see that on the thin coat, a given amount of hair is on a fairly big surface. The same amount of hair is on a little bit smaller surface on the medium coat. On the heavy coat, it's even smaller, and it's about 1/4 of the hair amount on, the surface on the extremely heavy coat. So I just wanted you to think about this again and keep it in mind for real case studies, that there are different hair thickness, like thin, medium, heavy, and extremely heavy coated dogs out there, and they need different kind of attention and oftentimes even tools to be able to take care of their coat to the best. Hair thickness. Now, this is how they look like: the thin, medium, heavy, and extremely heavy coated. If you take a look at number 1, there we see a puppy with straight coat, thin coated. It's very easy to see the doggy skin in those cases if you take a closer look and move the hair a little bit. On the second image, you're going to see a little bit heavier coat, but it's still around the medium coat hair thickness type. On the third image, you're going to see a heavy coat, which is wavy and straight, something in between. And on the fourth one, you're going to see an extremely heavy coat. If you take a look at all 4, you can easily see the difference between them, I think, and it's going to be much easier for you to take a look at your doggy's coat and see and decide for yourself how much hair your doggy has, so how thick his or her coat is. Hair length, that's another important parameter of the doodle's coat. Usually under 1/2 inch, we are talking about a super easy to maintain coat. Between 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch, it's gonna be still easy, but after the haircut, if you get this hair length, you're gonna, after a few weeks of the haircut, you're gonna need to pay quite a lot of attention to the coat, because it starts to get tangled and matted and a little bit higher maintenance around 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch and 1 inch, you really need to stay on the top of that hair length, because that's already, especially in case in case it's combined with wavy or even curly coat or crinkled one, that's going to be very, very hard to maintain and keep tangle and mat free. Still possible though, and you're going to know the tricks how to do it, but that's going to need almost professional attention and very detailed learning from your side to be able to take care of that. Over an inch long coat in pretty much any hair type and hair amount is going to be a full-time job. No, I'm just kidding, but that's going to be very, very hard. So anything over an inch will need a lot of attention, so you're going to be able to keep the tangles and mats away. Now, if we take a look at hair length in real life, you're going to see 1/4 inch on the top left. You're going to see 1/2 inch on the top right. You're going to see about an inch long coat on the bottom left, and over an inch and a half long on the bottom right. So if you take a look at all these photos, most of the doodle moms like around an inch long coat or over, which really needs special attention and quite some work on their part or on the groomer part. It doesn't really matter as long as the doggy gets whatever they need to get done for keeping the tangles and mats away. So after we took a close look at these gorgeous puppies here, let's take a look what's next. So we're gonna talk about keeping your doodle still. I think that's one of the most exciting parts of this whole course. So let's jump in.